Don't let a dealer pay you less than this for your coins. This is complete disclosure here. We're going to talk about what a dealer should be paying you for your coins. So stay tuned. But first, I want everyone to come over to portraitcoinshop.com and check out what we have to offer. We have 90%, we have silver rounds, and we also have some auctions going currently, and we try to keep auctions going every week. So if you get a chance, check out portraitcoinshop.com. Also, if you need help with a coin, come over here to Coin Help You Community. I'll have a link in every video. It's in every pinned comment and description. So first off, there's a few rules of thumb to think about when you are selling to a dealer. A dealer who needs the inventory, already has it sold, tends to pay more. A dealer who thinks they're going to have to hang on to something to sell it later will pay a little less. The idea of having something, money tied up into something that you're going to have for a little while, like if you got a lot of duplicates or just a lot of modern stuff that they already have, maybe already have a bunch of it in stock, they're going to pay less for that item. Then there's some items some dealers might not want to buy. I did a video yesterday on some of that stuff. Non-silver, repackaged after mint stuff from these private mints or these so-called mints. That's the kind of stuff dealers might not want. And if they do buy it, they're going to buy it out of box. They're going to basically look at your box and say, I'll give you this much for this box. So besides all of that, let's get to the important stuff, the 1 ounce silver rounds and the 5 ounce. On Silver Eagles, dealers typically, like me, are paying $5 to $7 over for opened rolls. Rolls that have been touched or handled, maybe have some toning or spotting. Some dealers might even be getting closer to melt for stuff that's spotted up. If it's really rough, then they're going to be close to melt, like painted stuff and stuff like that. Now, if it's sealed, fresh rolls, maybe even a monster box, then $10 over spot. And when I say spot, melt, whatever, if it's at 25, then $35 a coin, $35 a Silver Eagle. That's what I'm talking about here. If it's $7 over, obviously you can do the math. We're at 32. So that's what they should be doing on the Silver Eagles. Not less than melt, not melt. Honestly, it's going to have to be a really rough dude, really rough coin to warrant paying melt for it. Now, obviously, better dates, back dates, you pay more for, like the 86, even the 80s, the 96. Those are better dates, but we're talking about just common stuff that comes in the shop, rolls of 2018s and stuff like that. Dealers with the 0.99 stuff, they should be paying you about $1 over melt. I know some dealers will pay melt. Some dealers will pay $1 less than melt. But I believe in this environment with the way the demand is right now and the current premiums, $1 over melt is more than fair. Unless you have a special self-pour from, the older stuff. As far as gold's concerned, well, we've got pre-33 and we've got modern. When it comes to modern ungraded coins, gold coins, you want to get at least melt. So if you are selling gold eagles or something like that, then you want to seek melt for those coins. Dealers tend to sell those for, sometimes 5 and 6% over melt themselves. Then you have the graded modern gold. What I recommend on that one is you're going to go to eBay and you're going to see what it's selling for, because some of that stuff like the 69 and back grades are still going to sell for pretty much melt. Even sometimes the 70s will. So you want to try to get melt for those and go by what they've sold for too. eBay buy it nows are a good place, but remember, don't go with the highest buy it now you can find. Go with the several auctions. If it's sold for 3 or 4 or 5 times, go with that average, because different dealers can sell for more than other dealers and on eBay. So you got to account for that difference and that variance. Also, okay, then we go to the pre-33. Now, pre-33 gold's a little different. If you don't have better dates and you got common coins, you're looking at, a little over melt, but you really want to look at if they're ungraded coins or if they're graded coins. If they're graded coins, you can get a value easily by going to whatever grading companies like PCGS or NGC, go to their price guide, or just go to eBay and say, hey, look, it's selling for $2,300. I want at least 21. And you're going to be above melt on those, sometimes $100 above melt, $50 above melt, 25 on the gold, pre-33 if it's graded. If it's not graded, you still want to be in that range. You still want to try to get a little bit over melt on them, but some dealers are still going to try to pay you melt. I question trying to pay someone less than melt unless there's a question about the authenticity of the gold, and they don't have really a way to test it until they send it off. At that point, I think that if you have a lot of gold, you should send it off yourself. Maybe send it to ANACS, Annex. If you send it to Annex, then you would know if your coin is authentic or not, and then you have a better price point. So let's say you have 90% to sell, constitutional silver. Okay, well, it's going to depend on whether it's dimes or whether it's halves. Dimes and quarters are going to be at least, I would say, $1 over up to let's say whatever melt is. So let's say if it's 20 times face is what the melt is, then they should pay you 21 times. Now it depends on how slick your constitutional is, because 21 might be a little much on Roosevelt dimes that are slicks, or quarters that are slicks, because those two sell for less. Now it's going to depend on what the dealer is selling stuff for, what their market is. If their market's 24, 25 times face, they might be at 20 or they might be at 19. They're right at that melt. So you want to go to coinflation.com or go to NGC melt values, which they have those for gold and silver, and just see what 90% selling for, what it's times face, what the melt is. And realize that all the coins that you're taking there are circulated. So that adds up if you have several hundred face or, several hundred, ounces or whatever you have. So dealers should be in that range. If it's circulated, if it's uncirculated, they could be at 22, 23. But then again, you have to make sure, because some dealers can sell it for 27, some dealers cannot. So if you're not getting the price you're comfortable with, just don't sell it or try another dealer, because there's reasons why dealers pay less than others. But if they're trying to pay you substantially less than melt, don't do it. It doesn't matter what that dealer says or what they think, what the excuse is. There are plenty of dealers out there that will pay you a fair price. You might even have to throw it in a flat rate box and tape it up really good and pack it so that it doesn't shake around and just ship it to them. That might be your only option at that point. Now, when it comes to world coins, to get melt or better, it's going to have to be a good grade or an older world coin. Okay, most of the world coins that are very common, even the modern ones, 92% of melt to 95% of melt. Dealers are often selling this for like 2 to 3% over melt, dealer to dealer, and sometimes they'll sell it for up to 6% to the public. But some of that stuff's very difficult to sell at times, or it's a slow sell, and some people will have multiples of it. So that's something to consider there. So at least try to get close to melt for it if you can. That would be what a dealer should be paying you for the world, gold coins. The modern stuff, the stuff you see a lot of. And I'm not talking about the .99 like the Philharmonic or a Canadian Maple that's gold. That stuff there, I mean, you got to get melt out of that. That's what I would shoot for. That's typically selling dealer to dealer up to $100 over melt. So some dealers might even pay you a little over melt. And that goes for, even like 50 pesos. Some dealers will pay 2% over. I mean, it just depends on what it is, what condition it is, and that kind of thing. But, you always want to start off at melt and then, okay, is there some reason it needs to be less? Is there a reason it needs to be a little bit more? Always play around with those numbers a little bit, see what the dealer's selling them for, and see what they've sold for lately. Now, when it comes to graded coins, try to get at least 30% of the retail list. In other words, 70%, I should say, because you want 30% off the retail. If retail says it's $100, you're trying to get $70, and that's what I'm trying to say here. Now, I'm not saying that some dealers might not pay 80% or they might pay what gray sheet is or try to get less than gray sheet. Sometimes those are not different. Sometimes gray sheet is almost as much as the retail. So you want to, at that point, look at sold. So if you go over to eBay or Heritage or Stacks and you see 5 or 6 auctions and do an average of what they've sold for and try to go a percentage off that. The thing of it is talk to the dealer, negotiate with them a little bit. If it's a really good coin like a 1909 SVDB, you might even get close to retail for that, because those are coins that are selling, pretty high demand for those. Are selling really well. People are wanting them. Key dates and things like that are a little different. And if you have a coin that's worth thousands of dollars, you're probably going to work off a commission instead of going to 30% less. I mean, if you think about a coin that's worth $10,000 or $5,000, and if we go with the 10,000, am I going to pay you 7 for it? I'm going to pay more. If I could make, $500 to $1,000 on the coin, that's fair, but who's selling it? Do I have to go through the process of selling it? I have to find the buyer for that. Or are we just throwing it up at auction, you pay me a commission, and let the auction house find the buyer? See, that's the things you have to consider, the work that's involved in selling it and finding a customer for it. And also, if a dealer has a bunch of this stuff in stock, those are all things that come into play when it comes to pricing. But that's pretty much laying it out there what dealers should be paying and pretty much what I'm paying. I can't call the shots for other dealers. That's obvious. I'm not calling other dealers crooks because they don't pay what I pay. There's just different variables that are unique to certain areas of the United States and to certain dealers and their circumstances and their market and their customers and if they're online or not, that determines what they're paying for something. An online dealer that sells online to all over the United States tend to pay a little bit more for stuff. When you have just a local dealer who just sells to local customers, maybe at flea markets and stuff like that, or just out of their shop, they'll tend to pay a little bit less. So anyways, thanks for watching my latest video. Please like, share, and comment, and have a great day.